Okay, hey there guys. So in this war I'm back on Path 1 and we're facing PBT. So the plan for this war was me and two other people had to wait back until the global went down. Because there was a maw on the EMP modification of our officer wanting me to Quake it, and because of high ground we had to wait. So this is like close to the end of the war. I think it was like Sunday morning. No, I don't remember when this war was actually. But it was towards the end of the war. Or was it still first day? No, yeah, we got boss down like really quickly, like first day. And so this is after everyone else moved basically. So that's why like you'll see all the paths are done. And this Tigra, I've taken this fight a lot in the past. I got to take path 1 a couple times, a fair bit this season actually, now looking back at it. And as I said, I'm pretty comfortable here. Tigra is really common on this node. Because of her double mediums, it's really easy for her to cover a ton of ground and just like clip you and get a rupture on you, and just the fight can get out of control. But like, I use the power start 1, and it's kind of just locked in from there. Once you get your SP3 Fury, she has very low health as a champion, so she just kind of gets melted really quick. Next up is this Black Widow Deadly Origins, which again, a pretty low health champion. And I'm going to take it with Dr. Doom. Like, it's a pretty simple, easy fight here. The only thing I have to worry about is Masochism and the evade at the same time. Because the Masochism itself isn't, and I also get parried here. I was a little bit slow on getting back in after that, so I made sure to not do that again. So the only thing I have to worry about is the Masochism paired with the evade, which you will kind of see right here. Because you have to take the double hit. So it's not an issue, but I just have to make sure I time it out properly and that I don't get evaded, because I think I stun her and then like I go into hit and I get evaded. So that's all you have to really watch out for on this fight. It's nothing like too hard here. It's pretty simple. I just wanted to make sure that the evade charge was done before I went in for my SP3, so that way I can just go in without any worries. She's not at her SP3 here, so I have to like not do the standard Doom rotation, but right as I get to the SP2, even with Masochism, I'm going to give her a little bit of a heal. It's just going to rip right through her because, well, it's Dr. Doom. It's just kind of ripped through people with this champion right now. So it's actually going to be the first Quake fight in a while, I think, is my next one. Going into section 2, I had to wait for some other people. Our officer sent us like how we were going to move because we had already finished the rest of the map, right? So we just want to like get it done, one set of boosts. So we had to use the energy in a very specific manner. So for this fight, it's nothing, it's a standard Quake fight. I put it on fast forward for you guys. This was my first time Quaking this season, I want to say. Maybe there was one other war I can't remember that I did Quake in. But I haven't been assigned to too much Quake this season. I think that was just like going into the season. Oh no, there was the other time with Green Goblin. Going into the season, I think a lot of people were assuming that Quake was going to just be like permanently banned. So like we weren't really, I guess a lot of people weren't really expecting to plan out Quake. And so I guess it just wasn't in the plans really. I don't know. But there just hasn't been as much Quaking this season, I feel like, even though you really could Quake. I made that mistake right there, but I don't falter because of my concussions. And his Mystic Dispersion was also really low, which is not something you want to be doing in Master Level wars. Usually you're running like 5 out of 5 MD. I only have a single Mystic champion, but I rock 5 out of 5 Mystic Dispersion 24/7. So I have to wait for someone else to move here. So yeah, so this is where like the movement part comes in. So now I move forward. So this Kangaroo is just a very high healing fight. If you don't bring in a high enough damage champion, it will... I used 14k potion for like 5k health. At best, 5k health. So this Kangaroo is really all about his sustain. Kangaroo already has a fairly thick heal, but then you also have Vigor, which can be a fair bit of healing, but with Doom, I'm just going to get a ton of Mystic Dispersion right as I get to my first special one. So that's pretty much my goal here, because for some reason, the Furies, when they can get consumed to shrug off your shocks and stuff, it doesn't count for Mystic Dispersion. So I wanted to get the Stagger to nullify the Vigor, and then I wanted to use my SP1 to remove his own regen, which triggers his Furies. And so I was able to nullify one, I think, one or two. But yeah, I don't get why when the Furies are consumed to Shrug, I don't know exactly why they're not triggering Mystic Dispersion. I assume it's kind of like with Mr. Negative, where it's like, because his own champion design is consuming them, it counts differently than getting nullified or removed. But there's a ton of buffs here, so I have a ton of power, and I'm just going to rip the SP2 into him. Like, Doom fights are just all so similar. Like, you just go in there, you get to your SP1, and then you just lock the fight in. Like, I've been using so few items this season, just from using Dr. Doom a ton. Super high block, super high armor, all of it combined into one, just so tanky. So this Guardian, this Guardian is why I have Magneto. This Guardian is why I have Magneto. So, my officer told me to use Magneto, but as I was going through it, right, I just used Doom for, what was that, 3 out of 4 fights? So I'm like, I'm just kind of in a rhythm with Dr. Doom. I'm just feeling him, I'm feeling the SP3s, and I'm just like, I know I can take this with Doom easily. As soon as I get rid of his armor, I'm used to taking Buffet and Power Snack with Dr. Doom very comfortably. All you have to do is just dex right before your SP3. Some people might just not go for the SP3 to avoid the heal, but I find that in especially a war length matchup, this is just me just like thinking. That's why I was like, there's that big pause there. In a war length matchup, even if you go for the SP3 and you give him that 15% heal, which a 15% heal is a fair bit of health when you're looking at like nearly 200,000 health, right? It's a fair bit, 15%. But because of how much Dr. Doom's special free does, I found it just to be worth I just dex right before, right here, so I get the dex, and now I want to wait out the taunt. The only mistake I made here was I needed to go for the stagger before the armor, because you'll notice how little this does. So I actually do get my Fury out of this, but because of his armor and because, again, it's a high Sig Guardian, look at how much that energy resist just, like, wrecks me. Because I have the Fury there. It should have done a lot of damage. Like, my basic attacks are basically doing more. So all I want to do is I think I go for a second SP3 here. No, I do go for the SP2. Which again, the armor, the SP2 just rips into him, and look at what the armor does. The armor just like completely it nukes it down. Yeah, so this war was pretty good for me, I feel like. I got to use Dr. Doom a ton, which is a champion I really enjoy using. He's a really just easy to play, fun, confident champion. It was a bit frustrating having to like wait till the end of the war, but I still got to take a fair few fights, so that's always fun, right? So, that wraps up this war. It was, they ended up with the 10 deaths, but I believe they played us really close until their 5th death, I think it was. And then we were already, like, ahead on exploration, I think is kind of what happens. Then they just, like, probably didn't try as hard at the end. I think that's what happened. I think it was a close war early on, and then by the end, they were just like, and gave a couple at the end. I think that's what happened. I can't remember exactly. But it was another fun war. All these wars have been going pretty well, I feel like. I don't know, this season's been a bit interesting. So I'll be seeing you guys around soon. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye.